Hi, I'm Jed. I love slacklining, I love slack life. Fuck yeah, I love you guys. Fuck yeah. So, today I want to, or this evening rather, I would like to talk about things to think about with short highlines. So like typically, there's been this kind of aim of like, oh yeah, I want to just walk longer highlines. And long highlines are really cool, I really like them. But I think short highlines actually are making something of a comeback, and they're interesting, and they have sort of merit on their own actually, I think. So there's some stuff though with short highlines that isn't particularly intuitive, I feel like. And that's why I'm giving this talk. I want to just like give some fairly concise explanation about some things that are worth thinking about, and I feel like once they're understood, they seem obvious, but until then, it's like not so obvious. Okay, so what this is, thanks to Slacktivity, by the way, for doing this, this study they did a little while ago, and this is Sam. It's really dark, isn't it? Damn. So what this is Sam Volery butt bouncing a trick line at different tensions, at different base tensions. Okay, what does base tension mean? Base tension is just the force that a line is at when no one's on it. So like after you finish tensioning, that's the base tension when no one's on it, before anyone's done it. So what he did is he tensioned. Has this got a laser on it? You got a laser? Oh yeah, cool. So this is a trick line that's got a base tension of 4 kilonewtons. Okay. This one obviously 6. This 8. So what he found. And by the way, the analogy here is that having a butt bounce is equivalent to leash balling. They're both dynamic events, and they're somewhat comparative. So what Sam found is that when he butt bounced at 4 kilonewtons, the overall load was less than the other two base tensions, but the difference in tension from when he butt bounced was bigger, right? So what that means is you got this 4 kilonewton thing here, and the difference is plus 1 kilonewton. And then from 6 kilonewton, the difference is plus 0.6, and then from 8 kilonewton base tension, the difference is 0.4 kilonewtons. Okay, so here's that stuff laid out. So we've got This is the overall load, right? But the difference between this and this is bigger than the difference between this and this, which is bigger than the distance between this and this. Okay. So what does that actually mean? Here's that stuff laid out side by side. This is just a dynamic event, okay? So the blue one represents the line with the lowest base tension. What does that actually mean? Well, to just sort of power for it, like to just phrase it concisely, it means that if you have a really loose highline, right, which a lot of people, like, fair enough, are stoked on, like training rodeo is a really good way to train, and because it mimics long highlines, because people are stoked on long highlines typically. But when you start, this fundamental challenge where, like, when you start highlining, you start generally with shorter highlines, and you kind of want them to be like the longer highlines, so you ring them loose. But what this does is it means you have massive peak load on your body, like in the leash, you have a huge, like, peak force on your body. And that's, like, super brutal, and I think it's likely to cause long-term back pain and damage to people that get that. Yeah, it's really brutal. And so there's like two ways I'm going to present right now, basically, of mitigating that. And the first is have a higher base tension. And it's kind of like low tension's been repped a lot over the last few years. Low tension is cool, rodeo lining, I love rodeo lining, but at the same time, some tension can be super rad. Just watch Sebastian, like, he smashes there's some tension lines. Yeah, Sebastian. So, what I'm saying is that's one of the ways. So let's see. This is from Land Cruising. I pulled this from, it's like Highline safety document that they did. Unofficially, it's the Roofie. And thank you to Slack Lab for letting me use this. And to Land Cruising for letting me use this. Basically, what this is saying is that this is just like the scientific backup of what I've just been talking about. They found the same thing when they did some tests. The lower base tension will not cause large peak loads on the anchors. They basically figured out that the overall load on the anchors is less when you have lower base tension, but the overall load on the leash is higher when you have lower base tension. But it's like you can easily just take stronger anchors, or like have a couple more bolts, or equivalently, whatever. You can increase your safety margin of the anchors. You cannot increase your back's capacity to take shock loads. Like, That's not something you can change particularly easily. So having slightly higher base tensions are not a bad idea for loose highline, for short highlines. And this is, what the fuck is this? Whoops. Working tension at 2.2. Take the swearing out of the YouTube. Oh yeah, here we go. So this now is material choice. This is material choice. So you can change a couple variables, right? You can change how tight you make that line at a given length for a short high line. You can change how tight it is, and you can also change what material you rig it with, right? So these days, there's actually starting to become more and more choice with this, which is super rad. There's Sigma N, I believe it is, from Slackliner DE, webbing that Philip Gessing designed, which is like 27 kilonewton breaking strength. It's pink. It's like actually pretty great, and it's like high stretch, and it's strong enough to deal with like forces and highlining. You know, it's stronger than like standard, you know, like climb spec tubular, which is like not strong. There's also now a pink tube come out, which is not pink at the moment, but it's probably going to be pink when it's sold, from Selectivity, which is like specifically designed to be like bouncy and dynamic. And it basically means that when you whip on that, it has a lower peak load on your body, which is like a really great thing. And there's also, what else? There's a new webbing from BC, which is being released, which is like specifically aimed at being like really stretchy, super awesome. It's rigged right now, I think, on the 27 in the town square. Like, I was trying it today and whipped on it, and I was like, like, I could do some cool stuff, I thought, like, because it was like, it had a little bit of tension on it, but it's stretchy, and it's short, so you can literally just, like, surf, like, really fast, and you can whip, and it, like, doesn't shock load the fuck out of your back, which is so great. Yeah, so, like, those webbings, as far as I see it, are, like, the future in that direction, and, yeah, I'm stoked for some more of that. And yeah, here's my references, and thank you so much. I hope that's just like, you know, inspire some of you to like session some, you know, short highlines, and like you can do some cool stuff with that. There's lots of innovation that we've done with short highlines, and I hope you consider tensioning your loose highlines I hope you consider tensioning your short highlines rather, and I hope you also consider your material choice when you're rigging short highlines. Thank you very much. I love you all. Catch you in a bit. Somewhat haphazard.